Hello and welcome to another episode of An Echo of Glory. I'm Jonny Blaine. Joining me on this fine post-away win Monday morning is David Sims. Hello.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm all right. You wake up on a Monday after Spurs have won on a Sunday and everything's all right.
Yeah, everything feels a little bit better.
Yeah. And then it's Jake Sanders. Hello.
How you doing?
All right, how are you?
All good.
I'm going to start with you.
I'm in trouble.
Actually, no, I'm not going to start with you. I'm going to start with club news a little bit. The women didn't play because there's internationals. The 21s got beat at Man United and the 18s beat Leicester 2-0. 18's going well. Also, 2 new appointments to the club, which I'm sure you're really excited. Oh, it's club news, Jake. Got to do it.
We've had an appointment every week for about the last month, haven't we?
Dan Lewindon joins as performance director once of City Group. Maybe he can turn all those weekly knocks that end up becoming 5 weeks into actual knocks.
Have we not learned our lesson from hiring from the City Group?
What was his name?
Scott Munn.
Yeah. And Eric Hinson, you'll be delighted to hear, has been appointed as non-executive director. Who cares?
How many non-executive directors have we got?
Who cares? Can he play left back, etc., etc., etc. Right, we made a promise last week that we were going to have you on post Monaco, but it didn't work out. But don't necessarily talk to us about the game, but how was Monaco? That weird stadium, weird place, really. How was it?
Well, firstly, it was a bit of a struggle because I had woke up with a really terrible cold on Wednesday morning of the game, which was obviously not a great start. But anyone that's been to Monaco will know it's a lovely place. It was nice weather. It was nice to get a bit of sort of autumn, winter sun. Obviously, the game was horrific, as we all know.
Well, tell us about the under-18s game.
Oh, yeah. So on Wednesday afternoon, I went to the under-18s game. And I had a bit of an interesting story. It's a nightmare to get to. It's right in the mountains. And I sort of I got at like a shuttle bus halfway up. Didn't realise it was still sort of a half an hour walk, and then
they dropped you off.
Yeah, because it doesn't go.
Oh,
it
wow.
goes that way. So I was like, I'll walk the rest. Started walking, put it on my maps, and it was still a mile, and it was half an hour. Bearing in mind when you got a cold, a bit weak, not feeling great. Yeah. So I was like, do you know what? The next car that comes, I'm just going to ask him and see what's what. So this guy comes past, flagged him down,
Derek
and
Dyer.
I was like, do you know where the Monaco training ground is? And he was like, get in, I'm going there.
Oh, yeah.
So his name has completely escaped my mind, but he's a football agent that used to play for Southend.
Not Ricky Otto.
Let me find his name. And he dropped me outside, and he was a football agent that lives in Paris.
Oh, yeah.
And was watching a few of the Monaco guys. Let me find his name.
But that place is amazing, right? It looks like something out of a movie. They said they'd modelled it on
Francis Laurent.
Rings a bell.
Don't know if anyone would have heard him. Yeah, it's incredible. It's on like a cliff. It's amazing. And it's pretty decent office for the Monaco players, and the game was great.
Yeah,
Spurs were pretty good. I don't know you watched it, didn't you?
I watched it. Yeah,
should have won the game comfortably. Should have been
Monaco
outside.
spent most of the game just trying to kick our lads.
Yeah, that I'm not going to have any idea who their names were, but there was a guy that should have got sent off, but then did get sent off.
Yeah, he came on as a sub.
Oh no, was it not him? There was a really bad tackle in the first half.
Yeah.
But do you know what surprised me most? And I've not watched much youth football at all. The standard, especially from our guys, is amazing. Like in terms of technical ability, much better than like a League 2 game, League 1 game.
Yeah.
And I know that they're not professional footballers. I'm not saying that they'd beat a League 1 team, but technically they are. I assume
but they don't
so
beat
much
League 1. They get biffed in that.
Well, they don't always, but that's more under 21s. There's a big difference between like a 17, 18-year-old. But yeah, I mean, Lucas Barnett-Williams is levels above that level. You know, so much
physicality, isn't it? When you get up to kind of the next level, it's not just being able to mix that technical ability; it's the physicality that goes.
But they were amazing. Like I couldn't take my eyes off the game. They were absolutely brilliant.
And the seniors quickly.
Yeah, it was. In terms of my report, after about half an hour, my first 2 words were, however you pronounce Vicario's first name, and Vicario, because I was like, this is a Vicario story if we're not going to score here. So late on, for the first time ever, with my work hat on, I didn't want us to score. I had my whole report ready, and I was like, this is going to cause me more aggro. So when it got cut back to Johnson, for the first time ever watching a Spurs game, my heart sort of dropped and thought, just be blocked. And he didn't let me down, Johnson, for once.
So you'd written most of it?
I'd written it all, and the Johnson chance was like the 91st minute, and right into injury time, that was like the best chance we had of winning the game.
Yeah.
We sort of stretched them a little bit. But it was an amazing experience. The ground is bizarre in every sense of the word. The actual ground that you see on telly is weird, and there's obviously a running track and there's sort of empty seats at both ends of the pitch, but underneath the ground, the media is like a community centre. Yeah. So when we sort of did the pre-match presses on the Tuesday, the room next to it was like a kids' judo class, which is just like chalk and cheese compared to like what any journalist will tell you about Spurs or Arsenal or Chelsea at Premier League ground. It's very eerie, but great experience.
And in isolation, the draw.
Yeah, we said last week a draw would have been fine, but obviously the way it came about was sort of like,
all right,
just blow this whistle.
From one crumbly old stadium with a judo class going on to a brand new stadium where I've got to tell you, I'm delighted with the team to go there and be that team.
Very not Tottenham-like.
It's not Tottenham. It's the derby in my house, and when they beat Palace, I was like, maybe we will actually be the team that does it, because eventually they were going to lose there, and because they ain't great. But the lineup was thus: Vicario in goal, Porro, Danso, Van der Ven and Spence, Paulinho and Bentancur in front, Johnson, Kudus, Siemens and Kolo Muani. So from Villa, that was 2 changes. Johnson and
Kolo Muani.
No, Kolo Muani.
Yeah, and Kolo Muani in for Richarlison and. Might have been 3 changes.
Did Xavi start the line?
Yeah, he did. No, you're right. It's Tell and Odebear out.
Yeah. I can't remember. Oh yeah, because Tell started up front. Yeah. Okay. Firstly, I will say we've all been sitting here screaming for Paulinho and Bentancur not to start together, but at the same time have been saying in certain away games, those are the games that they should play in. Of which yesterday, not even in hindsight, because I thought they were both excellent. That's the game where you go, yeah, I don't mind that. Because you said, I think last week, when you see Paulinho and Bentancur on the team sheet, you're like, oh my God. But actually yesterday, I'm guessing, but I'm going to ask you, was that one of the weeks where you went, oh, I don't mind that today?
Yeah, you don't mind it in certain games. And I actually think that when you look at Bentancur at times yesterday, he was pushing on a little bit more. He did try and move forward or kind of arrive in the box a little bit.
Definitely.
So he's obviously been told to adapt his game a little bit. And in that respect, you kind of think, okay, well, I don't mind Bentancur as a player, as a player. It's just when he's just tasked with sitting there deep with Paulinho, we don't get much. But, it was actually worked fine yesterday. And they both played very well.
And the rest of it, slight sort of formation tweak. Kudus
I didn't know if it was a back 3 at one point. I don't know if anyone else thought that, but it looked like it might have been Porro as a right centre-back and Johnson as right wing-back, because there was, at the start of the game, it was like, oh, Kudus is centrally. Then it looked like Kudus and Johnson were on the right. So
they
I
were
couldn't
kind of
really work it out.
Yeah,
they were.
They were kind of just changing positions.
Yeah, it was quite weird to work it out.
But going forward, Kudus was playing as a 10, probably. Well, there's a few reasons. One, get closer to the centre forward, which has been an issue. It's also it's harder to double up on a 10 than it is to double up on Kudus when he's playing out wide. I thought that was interesting. Again, no one will ever say that Frank isn't anything but a thinker and an adapter, and he adapted it. I don't know whether he adapted it just for Everton or whoever we were playing yesterday. It was, we need to change this. He brought Johnson into the side, and Siemens played out on the left. But for me, no Tell, no Odebear. It was mainly just the men, the adults in the room playing. I think when you go to Everton, that's what you need.
But it was weird, actually. Sorry to interrupt you, but when you were listening to the Spurs TV commentary of the game, they were talking about, in the tunnel, that Frank was saying that he was going to be playing Xavi through the middle, and that he was going to be playing in the 10.
Are you saying that managers lie?
No, but I mean, I suppose when you're talking about your manager talking to your own club TV, it's different if you're going on Sky Sports and going, oh, this is my plan for today.
Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting that's what he kind of said, and he immediately kind of went away from that. But I'm not sure that Kudus was playing in the 10 as a true 10.
He was just floating around.
He was floating. He was then drifting out to the right. Then Johnson was drifting inside a little bit. It seems that those two were just chopping and changing, and And I think that, in some respects, actually works quite nicely because then you're not allowing them, as you say, to double up on Kudus. You're kind of giving them a different problem to think about.
I'll just take a step back. We had lots of chats in our WhatsApp group this week, as I'm sure all Spurs fans did. We were 1-6 going into the game. It's now not 1-6, it's 2-7, and it's a great win. The previous one was Leeds. There was a lot of talk before the game. Nobody wanted Frank out. On the back of Monaco, what you saw, we didn't speak to you last week. Take away what you've thought since yesterday.
Yeah.
How are your thoughts going into that game?
It felt big early. It did.
Yeah.
And I was chatting to my friend yesterday, and I said, this game, the result of this game sort of lets you see whether it's been a really good start to the season or maybe not so good of a start. And we said that sort of sums this Tottenham era up. We're always one result away, like last year with the Ipswich result. So it felt big, especially with what's coming ahead, because, I know we can all be a bit pessimistic, but it wasn't beyond the realms of possibility that we could have been sitting there in early December and we've not won a game since Leeds. We've got some really, really, really tough fixtures. It felt like more than just a win, really did, and we can go and have a big crack at Chelsea. And we know that it's not perfect yet, and it's difficult because we all wanted to see more, and we didn't really see that. I think I'm thrilled with a win, but if that game had ended 2-2 from a late Everton comeback, and it didn't.
Yeah, but it didn't.
We would have been going, that performance was poor. So I feel like there needs to be a bit of balance. It was brilliant. No one will win better than that probably all season at Everton. I can comfortably say no one will win 3-0 at Everton.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But, is that maintainable if we play like that regularly away from home?
Well, we'll summarise it towards the end. It was a sluggish start. They had a chance with Grealish, which was blocked. We spent most of the afternoon blocking brilliantly and Vicario making great saves. But before you know it, we're 1-0 up. Van der Ven header. We started off really well with set pieces this season. Yeah. It sort of took a little dip from them. Obviously, they're working on them. Was it you said to me last night? 18%, 19% of goals this season have been scored by set pieces. Is Arteta taking over? Is Pep ball out the window? And now is this football?
I don't know if this is football, but I think it's an obvious thing, isn't it? Like, everyone gets a corner. Everyone gets throw-ins deep into their opponent's half. Everyone gets free kicks close to the goal. If you're not using that to your advantage and using that as a weapon, then what are you doing?
So I don't like to touch too much on Ange Postecoglou.
No,
but it seems bizarre that we had how tall's Van der Ven? 6'6", 6'7"? I don't know.
Tall.
Okay, tall, 6'5". I really don't know.
Probably the tallest player we've ever had by crouch.
Yeah, and he barely scored a header for us in 2 years, and now he's got 5 goals. How many headers? 3. 1 against Bodo, 2 yesterday.
I would say
maybe
actually
4 headers.
4 headers.
I think they've worked with Van der Ven
totally, yeah, on
conditioning, on his leap. He looks more confident in the air.
6'4", some would say, but they're still very tall.
Yeah.
Taller than most players in the league.
But he looks confident now. So even defensively, he didn't used to win much in the air. It was more a case of winning stuff on the ground and getting his body in the way. But now he looks a lot more commanding. And I think now that is definitely a threat at set pieces, in the same way that Danso is a threat at set pieces. Bentancur's tall, Palhinha's tall.
We have got some big boys.
We've got some big
It's
boys.
also about delivery, isn't it, as well?
And we do have possibly the best in the league. That when Porro gets it right, there ain't many
think the best in
maybe
the league.
Declan Rice, but okay, you know what I mean. One of the best in the league.
Yeah.
That delivery is bang on.
And
There was actually a
Kudus
free
is.
kick he should have taken.
Kudus' delivery from the corners has been pretty good. Like, I don't know why no one seems to be picking this up, that we go deep, it heads back across the goal, and then you put it in.
We've done that twice in 2 games, didn't we?
Yeah.
It was the same goal, basically, wasn't it not? Or I know it wasn't a header, but against Villa, was it not
Back
a cross?
post, Palhinha.
Sar's
Sar's goal was back post against West Ham.
No, but I meant the back post.
But Sar was a little bit close. He could have headed that back across.
Yeah.
We're
We're obviously targeting that back post region, whether or not he meant that or not.
Yeah.
Neville seemed very impressed by his shoulder. he was like, "Oh, that's a great piece of play from Benzema." Did he mean the shoulder? Do you ever mean to shoulder it?
He's not the tallest, is he? But he's really
great in the air.
Yeah, he's brave, and it's great. Listen, we said for years, not just Ange.
Tottenham fans cannot get used to us being good at set pieces.
No, because it feels like we've never been
dreamed of days like this.
Yeah,
but it's a great string to have to your bow, isn't it? It's just
you've got to have it.
And if you look at our XG yesterday, and I know you guys don't like XG, but we were about 0.6, 0.7 or something like that from open play, and about 1.5 or 1.4 from set pieces.
Does that not worry you a little bit?
Because you can. You look at them lot are doing it every week. You can win games like that if that's the way football's going.
Do you need a bit more?
Yeah. Well, no, because there's more times than not. Set pieces will just work. If you master set pieces, they will just work. Sometimes you're not great from open play and things get blocked. If you keep putting good deliveries in there and you've got tall players, you will just score goals.
But I think on the flip side of that as well is if you do create a goal from a set piece, the game then opens up. So where a team then might be sitting in a low block and making it difficult where we can't break it down, they then have to open up, come on to us a little bit more to try and...
Right, but it didn't necessarily happen yesterday.
No, it didn't necessarily happen yesterday, but, having that as a weapon basically can change the course of a game as you're going through it.
It's an absolute weapon, but I do think that football is... I was fortunate enough to watch every single game this weekend, bar Leeds West Ham. I was at work Saturday, I was at work Sunday, and we had all the tasks with watching all the games at the same time. Everyone's chucking the ball in from wherever now. Everyone's swinging in corners and blocking, and it is changing a little bit. It might be a fad. They asked Frank, is this a bit of a fad, and will it change again?
They asked him that in Monaco.
Did they?
And what can he say apart from agree, really?
Did you have a question for Frank in Monaco?
I didn't, because I got my story already. I wasn't actually in his post match because I was in the mix zone with Vicario, but I wanted to ask him about Sarr. But I also knew that someone was going to ask him on Friday, and I think Jack Pitbrook.
Just to confirm, if you did have a question, you'd have gone Jake Sanders, an echo of glory.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just one thing on Van der Ven, by the way.
Yeah.
One of my favourite things about Van der Ven scoring is how much he loves it. Because I know all players love scoring, but you can just tell, and like the whole shushing the Everton fans for no reason was brilliant, and like he did it against PSG and West Ham. He loves it. You can tell that he's waited a long time to start scoring goals because he should.
He was a centre forward as a growing up.
He's tall and he's brilliant on the floor with his feet. Not many defenders are that good, have both strings to their bow. And they asked Frank, and he said, great, scoring with his feet, but he should be scoring with his head.
Has to be next contract off the rank?
100%.
Oh, no. I mean, by Christmas. By January.
Everyone else is getting one.
It's a concern if he's not.
What's he got left? 27?
He's probably got.
We signed him in 23, so he's probably got another. Can't be 27.
He's probably got another 2-3 years left on his contract.
29.
Yeah,
29.
Yeah. Well, to be perfectly honest, he needs a new contract. Firstly, to reward him and make him arguably the top player, or joint with Romero or whoever.
Yep.
But secondly, you've got to protect his value.
Yep.
Not that fans want to think of that, and he's not going to go next summer, but we need him contracted to 2031, 2, 3, whatever it is. We need him on a major contract, so we don't have to worry. Look at that, he's on 50 grand.
Oh, what a shame.
No, but seriously,
poor bloke.
in footballing terms, 50
How does he
grand
cope?
is...
Do you know why he's so happy scoring? Because he's only on 50 grand, so he gets his goal bonus. Because I don't know how he lives otherwise. But yes,
no mention of that hamstring because we're
banned on here. Banned on here. Right. Before I start you off with a little quiz, 1-0 nearly became 1-1. It's a weird one because when I watch it at first, and I've watched the game on Sky on our Premier League coverage and the Spurs highlights, or Rob Daly doesn't have a co-com, but listening to the co-coms, they're all like, well, that should be a goal. And then the more replays you see...
But I'm the complete opposite. I've never watched the VAR and thought, we're going to get this.
Well, no, I know, but... Okay, when you watched it live...
But seriously, taking my Tottenham hat off, you're watching that and you're thinking, there is just no way that can be a goal. And David Moyes said it.
Yeah.
But Neville made me doubt myself because he's going, it's 50-50. It wasn't a 50-50. Ndai is... Maybe he wouldn't have saved it, but Ndai is nudging Vicario from an offside position. I don't know why they took so long.
How many replays before you went, that's
Well, as soon as I saw him die, I thought, oh, that's not a foul. Oh, wait a minute, he's offside.
Right.
And then was it Grealish?
Grealish.
They're like sandwiching it.
Grealish was giving him a little nudge. It's funny because depending on what angle you look at it,
Yeah.
when they were freeze framing it from behind,
Yeah.
it looked like he was in a sandwich.
Yeah.
And then you see it from the other
could've
angle,
got-
and Ndiaye's slightly behind
That's
him.
it.
And
He wouldn't have
Ndiaye's-
saved it.
He wouldn't have saved it.
No, it's the
I
right
actually
decision.
watched it and thought, if I was an Everton fan, I'd be fuming with Ndiaye because that is so poor to do that.
Didn't need to.
Exactly.
But
He's
Neville-
trying to get too clever.
Jim Beglin on our commentary on the Premier League made the point that last year at Goodison, all Everton did was rough up Vicario. So they probably tried to do that again. So it might not have been Ndiaye was tasked with doing that, but think about it, you're going to be offside.
And do you know what's important, crucial as well, which is mad that Neville mentioned it. That is why you don't have players on posts anymore.
So they can be offside.
And you might concede the odd goal where a player would have cleared it off the line, but you got to play law of averages
But
now,
it's
and
funny,
that's
isn't it?
VAR.
In Neville's day, people were screamed at, oh, he left his post, he
Yeah.
did this, he did that.
Yeah,
You know,
100%.
and they talk about the evolution of football and the long throw and the this and the that, but it does constantly change.
The greatest on the post moment, is it Nigel Worthington, Man United Sheffield Wednesday? Steve Bruce heads it,
yeah.
and Nigel Worthington's just leaning on the post. He just sort of watches it, and you're thinking, Nigel, you're supposed to head it, mate, because it's gone up. He just watches it. Yeah, you're right.
But it wasn't a debate. Even Moyes
wasn't.
said it, and a manager will always come out, the opposition manager, and disagree. He was like, if that was my team and that got given,
Yeah.
I'd be fuming.
Yeah. And then North London White set piece FC, go up the other end, force a couple of corners, get another one. Micky pops it in. First Spurs defender, 2 quizzes. First, I think they asked him this. First Spurs defender since who to score twice in a Premier League game?
Well, I know it because they mentioned it, I think.
Go on then.
didn't they? Vertonghen.
Against?
Liverpool?
All right, that was a short quiz.
I thought it was going to be a
remember that
trick
game.
question. I thought it was going to be one of those times where Carragher scored twice.
Who
There's
was,
no
who
goal.
was before that, though? Anyone know? Tottenham player to score 2 pre...
I can look it up in a sec.
Dawson scored twice.
I don't think so.
I know.
Dawson might have scored twice in a Europa League game.
Yeah, in the Prem, I'll have to look that up.
By the way, just you mentioned this off air. It was lovely to hear that Goodison, not that it's a Goodison, that Goodison groan when he didn't give the goal.
They've taken what they have taken from
Yes,
Goodison
they
Park is that moaning, and Craig Pawson, bless him, looked like he was so
terrified.
scared. He was
Petrified,
terrified.
didn't
His
he?
voice was
Do you know what? I thought
visibly.
from the telly, it sounded like the atmosphere was quite bad. I know they were
Yeah.
2-0 down after at half time, but I thought it was the first sort of Premier League game under the lights and a 4:30, and
Do you think
winnable
it looks
game.
like an amazing stadium?
I think it looks good. It's not quite ours, but it looks good.
Yeah. So we're in.
I heard the Spurs fans, they were quite loud.
Oh, they were brilliant. Yeah, you can. Our away sport's always good. Even in Monaco, there was only about 1,000 of them. They were top class.
So we're in at half time. We're 2 up. What are you thinking, Simo? Are you thinking next goal wins?
Pretty much. But I'm also thinking.
Yeah, they
we're
were
kind
losing,
of-
not the whole game though. They're only.
I'm thinking that we're probably quite fortunate to be in this position, because I didn't feel like we'd really created much, again, other than the set pieces.
But neither had Everton really at that
No,
point.
no, they hadn't. I mean, Grealish had a shot blocked
Yeah,
probably
early
in the
doors.
second minute or something like that.
Yeah.
They created a little bit, and Dye was looking a little troubling at times.
Dyer's brilliant. He's brilliant, isn't he?
Great feat.
There was that one time he was just
Oh
on
my
the
god!
right.
Yeah,
and
I know. I
just
saw that.
his feet.
clip,
It's
that.
just incredible.
There was one chance where I think it was Dyer put it across, and it looked like Beto was going to score, and Van der Ven just
got
got a
nicked,
toe
got
in.
his
Toe
Yeah.
to it, yeah.
But you're away from home. The home team are going to create chances. You go in 2-0 up, no one's complaining. Jumping ahead to the second half, Vicario, I'll give him his props. I criticised him, plenty criticised him. And obviously now on Twitter, you're going, oh, you criticised Vicario. Now look,
We
of
just
all,
wanted him to improve.
First of all, never doubted his shot stopping. I personally had a bit of an issue with his positioning. I wasn't the only one. He will also be criticising himself for the Leeds goal, for the Wolves goal, and maybe for one or two others.
Brighton goal.
Yeah, he'll be criticising, and they will be working on it. And God, have they worked on it? Because Monaco, he was amazing. Yesterday, he was amazing. He's a very, very good shot stopper.
He was good from crosses as well.
Great.
He came from
Yeah,
a
he was
hell
a
of
bit more
lot
commanding.
yesterday,
He wouldn't have looked at the Wolves, whatever, Brighton, and gone, oh, everything's fine. They'd have worked hard.
I think us though, particularly, I was critical of him, and I'm strong on goalkeepers, but I never even mentioned Kinski's name. It was more just you're underselling yourself. You're so much better than that because we've seen it.
To think that you want Kinski in he's not ready.
But Vicario, me and Adam have said it for ages. There's only a hand, or maybe more than a handful. There's not more than like 4 or 5, 6 keepers that are better than Vicario. You know, he's gone for a really ropey patch, but it doesn't just mean, we're going to get in a 21, 22-year-old rookie that didn't look great when he played for a patch last January, February. He's a top goalkeeper on his day.
Look, I'm not a huge fan, and I think he can be upgraded.
Yeah, I also do agree with that.
Further down the line.
I do agree with that.
But he is a lot better than he was showing over a few weeks or a little period of time. But he's definitely a very, very good shot stopper. My only question is, though, why is Van der Ven taking goal kicks?
It's very Sunday league, isn't it? It's very you can't kick a ball.
He wallops it.
There are a few times where, when like either Spence or usually Spence actually, because it's on his left foot, and he's sort of like 10 yards out of his goal, and it comes back on his left foot, and it's a tight angle, and there's a striker pressing him, and you're sort of like
get rid,
heart in your mouth, and just like kick it far, even for a throw in. He does panic you, but I actually think that second save was one of his best. No, not the Beto one. Not the Beto one. The Beto overhead kick was really good, but it was straightish at him. Good reaction. The second
double
save,
deflection.
Top save.
That's a great save.
That is a seriously good save.
Flanners says Vic can be upgraded, but lower down our list of priorities. Yeah, I think he certainly is lower down our list of priorities. George says, I'm not sure there are many better options than Vic. It's not, I'm not out there scouting goalkeepers, but he really is low down on our priorities, and it's great to see him. Just before I give you the answer on Spurs defenders to score twice in a game, I hope this is working.
Do we consider Bale as a defender?
No, he's not. He doesn't count as a defender on this Opta list. Okay. So, what a time to be giving away the Micky Van der Ven shirt. A reminder, you have to be an Echo of Glory member to win not only this legend who's now our top scorer.
He genuinely could be our top scorer.
He's our top scorer. Not only that, this is not his shirt from the final in Bilbao, but it's a signed Micky Van der Ven shirt. It's got photos from the night in Bilbao. It's got a replica medal from the night in Bilbao. As I say, you have to become an Echo Glory member. And because we're so massive on YouTube now, they've made it a whole lot easier. You don't just have to do it on a laptop or a desktop. You can do it on your phone. Just become a member, all right? And you can win this. And we're going to give it away
after the Brentford game, the Thomas Frank derby.
After the Thomas Frank derby, the Monday after that, which is...
I think it's the 8th.
It's the... David, when's your birthday?
It's the 8th.
16th of December. 16th. What day of the week's that?
I think it's the 8th of December.
I think it's a Tuesday, maybe?
Yeah, so we play Brentford the weekend of the 6th of December. So we're going to give it around the 8th of December, before Slavia and before Forest. We're giving this away. If you live in the UK, you will get it before Christmas, but you've got to be a member. Okay, the answer to the question, Tottenham defenders...
Wait, what year?
We're giving it away this year.
What year is this? Before Vertonghen?
There are 5 Spurs players to score 2 goals in a Premier League game.
Defenders or players?
Defenders.
What year?
Micky Van der Ven is the 5th Spurs player to score twice in a Premier League game.
I feel like
Harry Kane, Son,
Berbatov,
Van der Ven, and Defoe. That's it.
They're done.
What years are these?
All right, little quiz. You have to take. We have got Tom Barkley coming on to talk about his book, The Miracle in Bilbao.
Talk about Tottenham players that scored twice in the Premier League game.
You'd have to tell him to wait because we've got a quiz going on. Soul Sniper Gaming, no. It's not Yunus Kabul. The years, Micky Van der Ven, yesterday, against Everton. Jan Vertonghen, we've done. March 2013 against Liverpool. I'm going to hide my screen.
I can't see it.
2001, I can give you a head.
I'm not going to get any of this.
I was in our loft room with my dad playing football.
I've just realised.
Football manager when this happened.
I've just realised one of them, Sol Campbell against United.
He who shall not be named against Man United in 98. There's one in 93 who actually should possibly be a midfielder, actually. And the other one is a defender.
I'm just thinking
who
of
played up front.
Doherty.
Gary Doherty.
Yes.
Sunderland away in 2001.
Oh, wow. When we were 2-0 down.
2-0 down.
One of the scruffiest winning
he was
goals.
probably playing up front.
He was playing up front.
A
Paul
Warhurst.
Yes.
And the other one was against Oldham.
Anthony Gardner?
No, September 93.
Okay.
Not the Oldham game you took your French exchange to, which was 0-0. One of the worst games
ever.
Steve Sedgley, who also could have been a midfielder.
He was a midfielder.
So thankfully, these players on this list are getting better now.
Yeah, but really, Van der Ven and Vertonghen and he who shall not be named are really the only defenders. Yeah, I mean Campbell
Doherty.
started as a forward.
Doherty definitely started up front that game.
Okay,
But he was a defender, wasn't he, by trade?
I don't even remember. I was too young to remember how was. Did it get discovered at us that he could just play up front, or did we
Doherty.
just have no strikers and we just thought, why
Yeah, I
not?
think it was like he
scored-
went up late in the game, was very good in the air because he was a big kind of lump.
I remember him scoring. Did he score at Old Trafford against Arsenal in the FA Cup and West Ham in the quarters?
put us 1-0 up against Arsenal, yeah,
And
and he scored against West Ham.
did he score against Orient in that round? In that last minute win against Orient?
Don't remember us
He
playing
scored
or-
loads in that run. I'm pretty sure he did. He scored a load in that FA Cup run.
Hold your horses. I know you love a bit of history. How old would you have been, Jay?
Sorry, are we still talking about unsung heroes here?
You want to put Gary Doherty
Can
in your list?
anyone confirm whether Doherty scored a last-minute winner against Orient in the FA Cup third round in 2000?
He did. So 1-0 at Orient. Then we won 4-2 at Charlton, which he didn't score in. Then he scored at West Ham in the 3-2. Rebrov got 2.
Then Arsenal.
And then he scored against Arsenal.
So he must have done all right. Wow.
Yeah. This is the Gary Doherty hour here on An Echo of Glory. All right. 3-0. Same goal against
He
both.
scored 4 in 64.
Yeah. I think we've named them all. 2-0 becomes 3-0. Richarlison, nice little header. Sarr pops it in. Very Johnson against Bodo in the
I
first
watched
leg.
it back. It's astonishing. You know why as well? Because who's behind Sarr? Brennan Johnson. If Sarr didn't get there, it would have been an
The same
identical goal.
What is the best ever that looks like that goal is Messi recreating Maradona's goal against England.
Yes.
And it's not like recreating. He didn't do it. I can't remember who it was against.
The one where he runs from the touch.
And you put them
really
you put them side by side,
Yeah.
and it's the same goal.
But did we not have one recently? I remember.
Yeah,
I remember.
yesterday.
No,
Well, Johnson back post tapping.
18 of those.
I remember having one recently going, that looked exactly like. I can't remember. There was a goal this season.
So we beat Everton 3-0 away from home. You can't complain.
Great result.
It's such a great result.
It's a great
Brilliant result.
Is it fair to say that whilst results are mostly good, performances arguably are quite good, especially defensively and away from home? Watching that game yesterday, I'm a bit like, we don't give up possession easy. Can we have a bit more open play chances created? I think we've had the second fewest shots from outside the box on target this season. Like, we're not doing anything really other than scoring from set pieces. This isn't a complaint, it's just an observation.
We're the top scorers as well, aren't we?
We are the top
Which is
scorers in the
crazy.
league. We have the joint second best defence in the league.
No, we have the best defence because I'm not counting them.
You're
anymore.
not counting them?
No,
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not counting them.
okay, all right.
They're out of the league. We're second.
Okay. Let's Bournemouth for second. I see. Bournemouth for top.
Yeah, I'm
We're
not counting
second.
them anymore. Get rid of them.
This is not a complaint. This is a bit like, there were times yesterday I'm like, could we keep the ball? I know,
But are we complaining, or are you complaining about that because you don't like watching that?
Yep.
Or two, mainly because you're worried on a bigger scale, on a bigger
sustainable.
sample size, it's not sustainable.
Right, so
because everyone
that's
was
it.
thinking whether, this is not a criticism, right? Every single Tottenham fan with a half a brain is thinking 50, 60, 70 minutes, if they nick one here, anything could happen.
anyone who doesn't think that
And
is
if
lying.
we keep putting ourselves in that position, you worry. But Frank will say that was our game plan.
Yep.
That was completely under control, which is
Yep.
great, and it worked. But I was watching it thinking we need to have some sort of outlet, and we just didn't really.
For me, one of the biggest problems is when I look at the pitch when we're playing, it looks really small. We don't seem to stretch the game. We don't seem to have a lot of space to play through. We don't create pockets and whatever. It's just everyone on top of each other. And I don't know if that's because it's really slow when we're in possession.
But that's in our half. We don't move as a unit, so we don't recreate that going forward. We don't seem to move forward as a unit in possession. We possession bleed. The goal kicks, you talk about Van der Ven, whacks it. If it's not him, it'll go to Spence or Porro and they whack it.
But I do also think that we were, Moani aside, who we've not really touched on, we were incredibly wasteful. Xavi quite a few times was just so careless in possession. Spence was a bit. Richarlison kept giving the ball away late on down the left, which is quite normal for him. But just so wasteful. And Kudus as well, who we've massively praised. I thought possibly his poorest game yesterday. He was really sort of loose in possession. And that doesn't help. Frank's not telling them to, get forward and give the ball away. But it feels like a few times late on in the game when it's 2-0, no one's joining in with attacks.
Yeah.
There's a lack of bodies up there. Do we really want to score a third goal?
But it's not even at 2-0.
Because we were deep in the 46th minute. Straight away you could tell. Second half started and it was like, well, we're parking up here.
Soul Sniper Gaming agrees with Kai here. I'm now going to mention Kai's message, which I really agree with. Chelsea game is key to get fans on side, need a home performance. Whoever will be playing this Saturday or Sunday at home, Saturday, that's key. After Leeds, we sat here, or certainly I did, and said, right, great. Villa's big. And then people will say we were unlucky against Villa. We weren't, whatever it was, we lost to Villa and we weren't great. Yeah. Chelsea is our first big home game of the season. Of the big six sides, we've been to City and we've won, don't we always? And we were superb. Chelsea come to town and do a Chelsea on us. It's not back to square one, but it's 2 wins in 8. So listen, the stats.
Are you counting Newcastle as a defeat already?
Obviously
it
want us
feels
to win.
less significant than on a previous season.
Because that game's an annoyance now.
Yes,
it's like away to Newcastle, such an awful game for the games we've got going on. If we were at home to Newcastle, I'd be probably quite up for it, but it's such an annoying game. Home v away this season, Spurs, taking out the Doncaster game. We played 5 home games, won 2, drawn 1, lost 2.
Scored
6, conceded 4. Away from home, played 7, this doesn't include PSG, played 7, won 4, drawn 3, lost none, scored 14, conceded 5. You're not going to go unbeaten away from home. You're not going to go unbeaten away from home for too long, probably another 48 hours, and we could be...
We've got Newcastle, Arsenal, PSG,
yeah, we're not going away unbeaten away from home in November. I'm sorry. If we do, incredible. I don't think we are.
Yeah.
So whilst it's really good, results are mostly good, and performances, they're doing their thing, but can they do their thing throughout the season? No. You ain't going to finish third being possession bleeding like we're doing and relying on your goalkeeper. And there's also a caveat to this. You don't have Kulusevski. You don't have Madison. You don't have Udogie. Blah, blah, Solanke. Blah, 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 blah. All of these. So really where they are is actually amazing. Because with the injuries we had last year, we weren't playing like this and going to places and winning 3-0. So they're doing that right.
But when everyone comes back, our biggest problem at the moment, or we're talking about, is that left wing position. Who comes into that position? Because none of those players are left wingers.
If you've got Udogie playing, it matters a little bit less.
I still think when Solanke comes back and everyone's fit and firing, we might not see this till December, January, but it feels like Muani and Solanke on paper would appear our 2 most technically sound players in those 2 positions.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about Newcastle a little bit later after we've spoken to Tom, but a few people have said, George Pena, if I had to choose, I'd rather over Chelsea. I'd rather beat Newcastle than Chelsea. Christopher Hall, if we only have 2 trophies to go for this season, Wednesday is important. Ronnie, give me a win Wednesday over Chelsea.
Really?
I want to be back in either the Champions League or the Europa League, and the best way for us to do that is by winning the FA Cup or a league position. Winning the League Cup will be great. Another trophy, great. Gets you into the Conference League. We've scratched that trophy itch. Yeah, we want more. We've got so many games. They're going to go off to internationals again and have 2 games.
Also, this I'm pretty sure that the quarter-final game is bang in the middle of December, which is after a terrible November Champions League. Then we know what the Christmas is going to be like. We're going to lose Sarr.
Chelsea's still in it. Liverpool's still in it. We're going to have to go some to win that thing.
I agree with you. But on the flip side, if I said to you could win the League Cup this year, another trophy, you're going to go in the Conference League next year, and we win the conference, another trophy.
Can I tell you why? I know Siemens hasn't pulled up any trees yet, but I don't think you're signing your Siemens, your Paulinhos, your Kolo Muani's even on loan. Kudus, possibly.
I don't want to win the League Cup
if you're not in Europe's
Conference League.
If you're not in the Champions League or Europa League.
I do that, but I'm just saying if that guarantees you a trophy for the next 2 years and starts bidding on winning mentality. I want to win the League Cup
because I desperately want to win silver.
You want to take your shirt off again.
Yeah, exactly. I don't care about being in the Conference League. I'd like to think that we could win the League Cup and finish 6th or 5th and get in something better.
I was just thinking what Christopher Hall said.
I'm bloody going.
If we lose to Chelsea, doesn't mean we can't finish in the top 5. Hang on one sec. I agree, Christopher. It doesn't mean that. But at the moment, in this run of games, if we're going to have to give one up, it sounds terrible. But for me, it would be Newcastle.
The team selection is incredibly difficult.
Yeah, we'll come to it. You're going where to?
To Newcastle.
On Wednesday?
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
You're an idiot.
I'm an away season ticket holder now.
You don't even go to home games.
I don't. I'm going Saturday.
All right, we're going to talk to just top this off, and we'll talk to Tom Barkley in a minute.
There's too much football.
About the miracle in Bilbao.
Too many football matches.
Yeah, there are too many.
If only there was some sort of way you could improve your squad. They should bring that in.
Tom's here. We're going to talk to Tom, and then we'll come back to Spurs' current situation. I was going to say demise. It's not a demise at all. All right. Here's Tom. I've got my headset all the wrong way around.
Hi, mate.
Hi, chaps. How are we doing?
Hi, Tom.
Good.
Thank you for joining us once again.
My pleasure.
I see you've got the book behind you.
Yeah, right there.
We're in a good mood today. We're in a good mood today because we've won again, and obviously we're going to get in a better mood. We're going to go back to May the 21st, the win in Bilbao. Your book, The Miracle in Bilbao, is out now. Listen, I don't need to ask you what it's about. It's obvious. But when did you start to think, I'm going to write a book on this? Was it after Eintracht? Was it after Bodo? Was it after Johnson tapped, or Luke Shaw put it in the net? When did you think, hang on a second, there's something going here?
Yeah, I suppose I had it in my mind for a few years to write a book of some sort. So it's always something I wanted to do. And then as the season was developing, I think maybe after Frankfurt, I started thinking, if they go and win this, given how badly the Premier League is going, but also the fact that Spurs haven't won anything for 17 years, and Ange Postecoglou, whatever you think about him, is absolute box office. Can't think of many other Nottingham Forest managers, with respect to Nottingham Forest managers who would dominate back pages as much as his ill-fated tenure had. If they go and win this, then I think this is a sort of historical, amazing moment, almost a bit of a unicorn of a season. I don't think it's going to happen again. And given that I was at pretty much all the matches, or most of them, and a lot of the press conferences asking a lot of questions, I felt in quite a, if not unique, then a sort of rare position to be able to sort of chronicle it. And that's what I did.
And FM sank on our comments. Should have done this at the top, really, and we'll do it again at the end. Is the book available on Amazon? Where can they get it?
Yes, it is on Amazon. Just type in Miracle in Bilbao. I'm sure it will come up, the first one. So it's available on there. It's also available on Pitch Publishing, which is the publishers, their website. If you're in Australia, it's a website called Sanity, I believe, .au. Seems to have had quite a lot of traction over there, from what I'm told, for obvious reasons, with the Ange connection. And I'm still waiting for hopefully to be available in America. We're still working on that, but it seems like it's done pretty well. I mean, I'm obviously in new territory. It's the first book I've ever written, but the initial run that was printed has actually run out, so they're going to have to print it again. So it seems like it's going down hopefully pretty well.
You mentioned Australia. You mentioned Ange. We can't talk about this book without mentioning him, without going too much into those first 10 games and all that sort of stuff. You were chronicling, focusing on all those games in that season, last season. Do you agree there was a point where he ditched the principles to go and win the Europa League? Did that really happen, or did we just get a lovely draw and we happened to win it? What do you think happened to lift that trophy in Bilbao?
Well, I can tell by your question that you sound sceptical about that sort of perspective.
Correct,
but I have
correct.
to say, from speaking to people both at the time and after the event, I think that's what happened. Okay. It might seem mad given how the stark contrast in how the Premier League form and the way they played in those matches went about. But I believe that, to be honest, after the summer transfer window, when he didn't get as much experience as he wanted, I think his expectations may have changed a little bit over what he could achieve. You could tell that from the different way he was speaking throughout the season, over, going from wanting to compete right at the top in the first season and challenge for the title to suddenly winning a cup was way more important. Yes, cynics might say, well, he kind of had to say that given the way things were going for him. But I do believe, I am led to believe that after the January window, there was, and this is detailed in the book, he had a sort of meeting with the players to say we're going to go a different route for the knockout stages. And there is sort of precedent there for Ange, as crazy as it might seem, given his hell for leather approach in the Premier League. When it came to the grand finals, when he was with the Australian clubs that he managed, which were knockout games, basically it's like a playoff to win the title for their league, he would go much more pragmatic. He did the same thing with Australia against South Korea in the 2015 Asia Cup final. So he saw it as a different approach that worked for knockout football, and it obviously paid off. But I guess it does lead you to the question, and one that I'm still asking myself, is why would you not try that more often in the league, given that, yes, they wanted to play an attacking style of play, but that obviously wasn't working. And why wouldn't you sort of, at least try it out in the league once the league had gone, to help yourself in the Europa League? But ultimately, they won it anyway. So from that perspective, that target was achieved. But we all know, what happened next and why.
Tom, was there ever a moment where you were sort of slightly worried that all of your hard work throughout the months of that Europa League campaign were going to go to waste? Were you as nervous as Tottenham fans in Bilbao?
No, and the reason for that, Jake, is the fact that I didn't actually start writing it till after the final. So, like I said, I had the idea of doing it from probably from Frankfurt onwards. I started to think, this could be interesting, and I'd spoken to Pitch in years before about a different book, which never happened. And then once they won it, I suddenly thought, okay, let's do it. And whilst if you were starting a book from complete scratch, a novel or whatever, to do it, the turnaround that I did it in would be, I imagine, unrealistic. Yeah. It was a pretty crazy period writing it, getting up at sort of 5 a.m, going to bed after midnight, fitting it around work and family, albeit this was a rare summer where I wasn't at a major tournament, having been at the Euros the season before and the under-21 Euros before then. So it felt like an opportunity. So not really, because I hadn't properly gone for it until after that.
And in terms of the final, without going too much into detail, can you just tell us a bit about what it was like for you? And could you sort of feel how much it meant to Tottenham fans? Could you sort of feel the desperation in the trophy drought, just from fans in Bilbao and, social media and everyone, how desperately they wanted it?
Yeah, 100%. Desperation is definitely a word that I think I originally used in my introduction, and I thought it might be a bit too offensive, so I went for obsessed instead. But it has been a desperation of Spurs fans, this 17 long years of not winning anything, knowing what an opportunity lay ahead of them against a Man United team that had been pretty terrible all season, but knowing also that it'd been such a long time since they won something that you would not take it for granted. Going into that final, the whole trip was pretty mad. You might remember, Jake, because you worked with me, obviously, and you might remember quite a desperate phone call I had to you, stuck in an immigration office in Brussels.
Wow.
Was one of my sort of more nerve-wracking moments in my life, to be honest. So basically, because we left it quite late, unfortunately, to get flights out to Bilbao, I had to go via Brussels, and the connection was quite a quick turnaround, and the flight from Gatwick was delayed. So I was probably always going to miss it anyway, but myself and a few other American tourists who were going elsewhere, actually there was another journalist going also to Bilbao, we were told to go one way and hopefully get to sort of skip the queue to the next amount of security to get through to the next bit. But then a security guard didn't get that message and took very unkindly towards Americans in particular, of which I was sort of grouped with, was put into an immigration office, had my passport taken off me. Jesus. And that was one of the longest half an hours of my life, waiting for that to come back and wondering how it was going to play out from there.
The miracle was you getting there, Tom, I think.
Yeah. And then after that, obviously the flight had gone, so I ended up getting Eurostar to Paris, staying there, flying the next morning. So, yeah, pretty groggy by the time I finally got to what is a beautiful place in Bilbao, ahead of what was a very busy match day -1, as we call it, with all the pre-match stuff, both for Spurs and Man United. And the actual final itself, I'm a Tottenham writer, but I was actually, because I was there with my great colleague Dave Kidd, who's the chief sports writer for The Sun. It was quite a hard match to know how to go about it, because you had two English teams who both command big interest, obviously, for our newspaper. So you can't really prepare stuff ahead of time for what we call a colour piece, which is the second piece so you've got the match report, and then you've got like a theme, a subject you might write about. But we didn't really know which was going to be the focus, whether it was going to be Tottenham or Man United for the match report, because it depended on who won. So we had this idea to begin with that my boss, Sean Custis, came up with, where we'd focus on Levy and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, because there were these two owners that were, somewhat not beloved amongst their fan base, who were going up against each other. Big match. They needed a win for their own, their own story. And so that sort of seemed to work. And I thought that was it. And I'll go off to do the press conference afterwards. And then with about 2 minutes to go, suddenly I was told, right, you need to do a 800-word piece on Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Man United and what it all means to them. So having covered Spurs all season and not Man United, that was quite a swift turnaround, and probably one of the reasons why I didn't get to sort of take in as much until after the fact, the celebrations from Tottenham's perspective. So that is kind of my memory of it, really.
Tom, I just wanted to ask you, speaking to quite a lot of Spurs fans, there was a general feeling when they were there and the atmosphere, there was just a feeling that they were going to do it. What was the feeling amongst kind of the guys in the press and the media?
Yeah, I remember the night before being in that, I forget what the name of the square is, where it's kind of like, the crossroads of the in Bilbao, where a lot of the Spurs fans congregated, having a few drinks and kicking footballs like high up into the air. I don't know if you remember that at all. It was quite a lot of great sort of jubilant scenes in the main square, and it did feel like there's a lot of confidence to a certain extent. I don't know. I think going into it, objectively speaking, it was two teams that were way out of form, going up against each other, sort of knowing that they one sort of false move could really dent their sort of fragile confidence anyway, both for Spurs and for Man United. So it was a really hard one to call. Obviously, Spurs had the form against United throughout the season, where they've beaten 3 times already, but United have been there and done that, and you can't help but sort of buy into history to a certain extent. But one thing I do remember is the press conference ahead of the game. Obviously, Ange, made the big headlines with the whole Clowngate comment about Dan Kilpatrick, who I was sitting next to when he said it. But there was a real steely-eyed kind of determination around Tottenham ahead of that press conference. Whereas Man United with Amorim and Fernandes, there was a lot of laughing and joking throughout their presser, along with Maguire. Maybe that's a bit easy to sort of point fingers at them not taking it as seriously as they should. But throughout the season, there was, Amorim was already downplaying if they won it, what it would mean. Whereas Spurs were really, it really felt like a massive moment for them compared to United. And I wonder if that had made a difference. And then obviously the supporters throughout the game were absolutely incredible. Most notably, looking at the pictures back when I was selecting photos to go in the middle of the book, after Johnson scored, had to be one of those moments, and all the supporters in the background just going balmy, including a couple of close mates of mine, knowing what they'd sort of been through as fans for the last 17 years was a joy to behold, and I imagine played a big part in Spurs getting over the line.
And I know in the book there's the views of players, coaches, and everyone around the club. Without giving too much away, every book's got to have a hero. So I'm an Ange skeptic, but he will always be the guy that got us that trophy, and we'll always thank him for that. Is he the hero of the story for you, for the season, or was it a collective, like you say, sort of coming together at some point, going, do you know what? The best way to win this is now to, I keep saying it, ditch the principles, but was it a collective? Or was Ange really the hero of this story?
No, he's a protagonist. He's probably the protagonist, along with Daniel Levy and Son Heung-min and Brennan Johnson. There are some, key figures throughout who crop up a lot, and obviously Ange is the main voice throughout because he was the one we spoke to throughout the season. And I think one of the things that I feel he deserves credit for, and I think it's reflected in the book, is the way the players didn't give up on him, at least in the Europa League, definitely, and he managed to keep it together. And that sort of pre-match talk ahead of the final, which you will have seen a bit of, and I hopefully got a bit more detail of what happened regarding this theme of family and what it all means. And there's a moment where he talks about the photos back at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which he said publicly about the black and white photos. But in the book, there's a bit more detail over him talking about how Sonny won't be there if they don't win, and what's he going to say to his child when he comes back after 10 years at Spurs, if he were to leave in the next coming years, which obviously he did. Trying to put that sense of a momentous occasion, whatever happens next. That was the message that seemed to get through to the players, and I think you do have to give them credit for that. And that was kind of partly why I wanted to write the book, because for whatever happens next, and a lot has happened since, like literally the book went to press just before Levy left, so unfortunately that's not in there. That's obviously a massive moment, and then obviously Ange's terrible tenure at Forest. But whatever happened next, and whatever Thomas Frank goes on to do or not do at Spurs, there'll always be this moment, and I wanted to capture it as a sort of memento, which maybe in years to come, if there aren't any trophies, will sort of grow in significance. Hopefully.
It's quite an incredible story, and what we're going to do here, we're going to get hold of a couple of copies and we're going to give them away on an Echo of Glory, so our members and our viewers can read them. It's a fascinating story because, like I've said, you can all sit here and say this about Ange and this about whatever. He delivered, they delivered, and it is a miracle because nobody would have seen it coming. Just going on to the present, Tom, I just want to get your thoughts quickly on how we're doing, and will there be a miracle in Budapest? Volume 2.
Well, yeah, I'd love to write a sequel. I mean, look, with the way the Premier League season was going last year, I don't think many people would have expected it to end in a European win. But obviously, the level is completely different. Even though they've looked their group their selection of fixtures from the league phase of the Champions League does have a Europa League feel to it. PSG next to the Champions League winners. I mean, it doesn't get any harder than that. I think the way Spurs are playing at the moment, Thomas Frank has laid a really good early foundation. It's very impressive how quickly he sorted the defence out, given where they were at towards the end of the season. I mean, they were conceding goals absolutely for fun. The set pieces, I still don't believe Ange sort of dismissed them, privately as much as he kind of suggested publicly. But there's no doubt he didn't have as much of a focus on them as Thomas Frank does, and as so many managers do in the Premier League now. To be honest, Ange's kind of slight sniffiness towards them has not aged well, given 19% of goals this season in the Premier League have come from corners, an amazing stat yesterday. I mean, it's just how you have to play now. So the way he's turned that around, along with Andreas Georgsson, who's got to give a big shout out, the set piece coach, has been really impressive. But obviously, from a sort of flair perspective, it's been a little bit in short supply. But I don't think you can expect everything to change at once. I'm not convinced. I'm going to be watching, get out of your seat football under Thomas Frank in the near future. It might happen further down the line, because when you think of Brentford, yes, they were quite direct, but it was quite thrilling at times when it really worked, when they were on the counter-attack with Mbumu. But it is a different style. Whether, it's back to your original question, whether if you don't have that side of the game, unless he develops it and someone like Xavi Simons really steps it up from what he's shown so far, whether that's going to be enough to take you all the way in the Champions League, I am doubtful.
All right.
Tom, as someone sort of without the emotion and not a Tottenham fan, we're all sitting here maybe slightly happy with the results, but slightly concerned about the lack of creativity from open play. From what you've seen, I know you've sort of said he's laid the foundations, and everyone's been really impressed with the defensive record. But from what you've seen so far, should we be concerned?
I think, coming back to the point I just made, how quickly things have changed on a couple of aspects, you've got to give him credit for. And, just from statistics, it's just looking at the league position, the fact they haven't lost away from home, the fact they haven't lost in the Champions League, albeit that really doesn't tell the whole story, does it? Given the performances in Bodo and Monaco, which you were at, Jake. I think you do have to give him credit for that. But I suppose Spurs fans have kind of been here before under Antonio Conte in that season where he ended up leaving eventually, but he had an unbeaten start till they lost 2-0 at Sporting Lisbon. I remember being in that ground when they conceded those 2 late goals, but there was not a lot of surprise because the performances hadn't really been up to scratch, really, and it was kind of coming. So I suppose there's an air of kind of skepticism from the fans over, suddenly results kind of reflecting how the performance is. But I would say, personally, from an attacking point of view, it can probably only get better. Yeah. And that's encouraging. He's had 3 strikers, of which I don't think he's convinced of any. Well, Mwani's he's different, isn't he? He's on loan. He's been injured. We don't really know how good he's going to be. It's great. It was a pleasant surprise to see him start. Yeah. He's doing. I'm excited to see what Frank can do with young players, but he's not ready to be the regular centre forward. And I think Richarlison, whilst he's capable of magnificent goals like he scored against Burnley, I don't think he's someone you can rely on to be your regular striker. So and obviously Solanke's been injured, so it's so notable they're messing a centre forward. The player that I'm worried about at the moment is Xavi Simons. He's come in for a lot of money. It's obviously early days, so you got to caveat all of this. It's only a couple of months. He's adapting to a new league, but he is the one that is supposed to be able to unlock defenses with his creative skills. I just really haven't seen anything of that so far. The only thing I can think of is, in his first game against West Ham, even though he didn't play that well, he had a nice sort of calmness on the ball.
Yeah.
But that's about it, really. I mean, his stats, you can go into them, how sort of how they haven't been very strong either so far. And yes, maybe the style of play is a bit more cautious, so that doesn't help creative players. But I think it's sort of incumbent on him and the creative players to sort of step up their own games to a certain extent to help the team.
It's interesting on Siemens. I was thinking about that coming in. Everybody watches the YouTube videos, and obviously every YouTube video is the best moments of that player. But we've not seen any of that quite yet. The running, he's barely had a shot. He's almost scared to shoot. Maybe he'll be the hero of the Miracle in Budapest, the sequel. Tom, just remind everybody where they can get the Miracle in Bilbao.
Yeah, you can get it. Just type it on Amazon. Miracle in Bilbao. One of my good friends bought it from Waterstones in Lakeside the other day, so I believe it's available in some Waterstone shops. I think it's sanity@au.com. I think it is for Australia. If you've got any Australians watching this, and I'm hoping it's going to be available soon on out in America. But wait, watch this space, I guess, on that one.
And as I said, we're going to give a few copies away on here, so our viewers and our members can have a look at that. Tom, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. And we'll speak to you soon. Thank you so much.
Cheers, Tom.
Cheers,
My pleasure, guys. Take it easy.
Cheers, thank you. What do you reckon? The Miracle of Budapest or the Wonder of Wembley Way? Maybe we'll get another trophy at the end of the season. I mean, it is a miracle, isn't it, really?
Feels the more weird talking about it after so long,
but I listened to Rule the Roost Pod did a brilliant episode with Rob Daly and Ben Haynes, the Spurs guy, Spurs commentator and the presenter. It will never go. I can talk about it every day. Like
I saw him when he put it out on his Twitter. Some people were giving him sticks saying, "Oh, how was it a miracle? You beat the worst United side ever. You were favourites. Come on."
Yeah.
Check the results from last season.
No,
seriously, for us to get through 4 European rounds in a row, knockout, regardless of who we were playing. Seriously,
well, a team that's not won
we were losing at home to Leicester and Ipswich last season.
Exactly.
It's impressive to beat Frankfurt.
Yeah. So, like I say, we've got the Van der Ven giveaway. We're also going to give away 2 copies of this book, but you have to be a member. So, if you are a member, you might win one. You might win both. Who knows? Not all 3. You can't win 2 books and the Van der Ven prize. Let's just take it back to Everton and quickly look ahead to Newcastle. Just to close off Everton, a couple of players to talk about. Van der Ven was brilliant. Kolo Muani, there's definitely something there. You don't play
some really nice touches.
Yeah, you don't score goals for PSG Juve. He
didn't get a chance on goal, but there was one really nice touch inside for Xavi. Which I don't even know what Xavi did. He sort of like miskicked it.
Yeah.
But it's just the awareness, wasn't it?
And do you know what? There was this one other thing. A ball got played round the corner on the right. I can't remember who it was. I don't know if it was Mikalenko or Tarkovsky. And just because of the pure speed and the quality, and he's won a corner for us, that might have led to the goal.
That led to the goal.
Yeah. And I said to my mate, I said, do you know what? Richarlison would have, and I do like Richarlison, but Richarlison would have made that look more difficult. Just a little bit of quality, a little bit of speed, quickly got in behind him, and it was just no problem.
You don't
there was another one, a little flick in the middle of the park. It came into him and just a little flick inside.
That was to Xavi.
One, and Xavi gave it when it was just like just quality.
You don't score goals for Juve, PSG, France. He changed that World Cup final. I know he missed a chance, but it was brilliant when he came on in that World Cup final.
Yeah, he's good.
No problem there. Kevin Danso. We talked about players that are unsung heroes.
Quality.
He is going to become a Tottenham legend, not necessarily because he's going to play 250 games and win all of this stuff. And what a cult legend he will become. Seems like
he seems really popular.
First of all, seems a lovely fella. Just you see the interviews he does with charity events, and just even some people do the TikToks outside the ground. He'll always stop. Always seems a lovely guy. But on the pitch, comes in, doesn't moan. Just
attitude.
18 duels he won yesterday, the most in the Premier League this season. Heads it away. Perfect game for him. I asked you off air, Jake, or said to you, I might pick him against Arsenal. Like, it's difficult to drop Romero.
He's superb, yeah. Really.
Or you play all three of them and just head the ball away for 95 minutes.
I'd be inclined to do that, to be honest.
I can see that.
I'd be inclined to go back 3 against Arsenal.
Just head the ball away.
I could see him going a back 3 and then Kudus and a striker up front.
Yeah.
As Flanners says, he's everything you want in a backup centre-half. Look, Will says, above that, anyone know if Dragusin is close to returning? Dragusin will probably also be a much better defender in a Frank team than he was in an Ange team. You know, that debut or whatever it was against Karabag when he got sent off after 7 minutes. You're asking Dragusin to stand on the halfway line. When we watched him in Euro 2024 for Romania, what was he doing? Romania would sit in, he'd head the ball, he'd clear the ball, he'd tackle.
It suits him playing in a low lockdown.
Suits him. But, yeah, comes in. What did you say? He started 8 Premier League games?
I just sort of plucked that out of thin air. But he started. It's 2 this season, and probably maybe started a bit more last season, but not many. And he came in a difficult spell last season, and he hasn't really
put a foot wrong.
At all. Really, he's not. He's not Van de Ven or Romero. We know that, but he heads it and kicks it. And we've had many defenders over years that don't do that.
But what I also like about him is he's not rash.
No, he's not. He had one rash moment yesterday where he miskicked
just after half time.
No.
The penalty,
first half.
You're talking about the one that could have been a penalty.
No. I remember him slicing a clearance, and I thought, oh, this is going to go over Vicari, and it luckily didn't. But that was it. But apart from that, he's one of those few players that knows his limits. He doesn't try and do anything.
He's strong. He holds people up. He kind of gives them a little push, but he doesn't ever kind of push the boundary too much.
Correct. Yeah.
Someone tweeted, Danso is what Dragusin's agent thinks Dragusin is. It's a great tweet, isn't it? He's just reliable. That is what we need. Just reliable bloke.
Bloke. Let's quickly talk about Siemens. I think people thought we were signing Messi. The tap he's getting on Twitter is ridiculous. He got really annoyed when he got subbed yesterday, and I was annoyed for him.
I like that,
but I think we've heard before that he gets a bit shirty and his attitude. I actually thought, at the moment, we saw it against Villa, his best work is defensively. He's a little scrapper. He can tackle. Started the second half, actually thought he was doing quite well. Then he dragged him, which I think he was annoyed about. Bergvall came in, did okay, actually.
He
Fine.
did really well.
Yeah, did well. Do you need, like I said, those YouTube videos? Can we see a little bit of that now? We need that, especially at home.
We're not really playing in a way that's going to allow him that creativity
but he did get a
freedom.
Bit more space yesterday, and he turns back. He's a little scared. You can be, I think, at any level, you can be Division 3 Sunday League footballer. If you go up the leagues into a better league, even if you back and rate yourself, you'll be nervous. I think he's nervous.
There was 2 moments yesterday. There was that one where Moani put it inside and he had all the space and did the miss kick. Yeah. And there was another one soon after, and he ended up winning a free kick. He just slipped over. Yeah. And then he did really well on 2 nice touches. Yeah. But it does feel like he's being very careful.
Do you think he's nervous? This is the biggest league in the world.
The way we're playing is not necessarily going to help him, but he's massively underselling himself just on a technical basis. I
agree.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what about Kudus? Well, some of our attackers are doing well. Odobert seemed... I know Odobert doesn't play in the middle, but Simmons played in the left yesterday, and Odobert, whilst he's not the finished article, he's having a bit of joy on a technical level, and it just looks like he's really...
He's scared to lose the ball.
Yeah, really careful.
Some players come in and they just want to just express themselves, and I think others come in with a weight of expectation. And it feels like maybe he's just feeling that weight of expectation at the moment.
I think that's it. He knows how good a footballer he is.
He needs a goal or something to happen.
Yeah, but you can come into the Premier League from wherever you've come from. This is the biggest league in the world. And I think he's a little bit worried
He
about
needs
giving
like
the ball
something
away.
to go in against Chelsea or United.
Like Modric started quite slow, didn't he, when he came in, played off the left, and then he kind of came more centrally and he imposed himself more on game.
Xavi's a bit physically surprised by the league. There was a few times yesterday where I thought, I don't fancy you going into... Who was the right back?
Garner
and O'Brien in the middle, and Tarkowski. I thought, God, don't get that in Germany.
No.
Don't get many James Tarkowskis and James Garners in Germany.
He often goes down holding something, doesn't he, though, as well? I was a bit worried when he was holding his knee. I thought, oh, God, he's out now for a while.
But he had a bit more joy. He had that chance early on as well. He got he looked like he was going to score in the first 10 minutes.
He needs a goal, but to do that, you need to shoot.
I'd start him against Newcastle again. Play him another hour, and then,
All right, let's there's just a couple of stats from the game. Obviously, we talked about the set pieces. We were the first team to score a set piece against Everton this season.
When they brought that stat up, I was like, thank you very much.
Yeah, that was great.
love
Thomas
stuff like
Frank
that.
is the third manager to avoid defeat in each of his first 7 away games as Tottenham manager, after Arthur Rowe, who went 13 games, and Ange Postecoglou,
Ange.
the aforementioned Ange Postecoglou,
Who also had a penalty shootout defeat.
against Fulham. Yeah. Tottenham have scored with this is a bit random. Tottenham Hotspur have scored with their first shot on target in 4 of their 5 Premier League away games this season. Spurs boast the best shot conversion rate in the Premier League this season.
Is that impressive, scoring with your first shot, or does it just mean we don't have many shots?
We don't create that much.
Yeah.
Well,
It's not like we're scoring in the first 5 minutes.
it doesn't tell you how many more they've had, but to go 1-0 up with your first shot, great.
We're the most clinical team in the league at the moment, I think.
Say again.
We're like the most clinical team
That's
in the
what I'm
league.
saying,
That's
best
amazing.
shot-
Sustainable.
Best shot conversion rate,
Yeah. Oh, is that what it is? What is it? What percent?
18%.
God, that's amazing.
Scored from 17 of our 94 shots.
Shots or shots on target?
Shots.
We score 1 in every 5 shots. Bloody hell.
And there was one more I wanted to read out. No, that's it. Okay, quickly on to Wednesday night, Newcastle away. Haven't had confirmation from our overlord James Alexander, but I think we're doing a post-match show in here. What the hell do you do with the team? Because we don't really have any players to come in. No, you'd love to rest Zanza and Van der Ven, but we haven't got that luxury.
Well, how far away is Davies?
No, out.
Do we know that?
Yeah, he's out. Doggy out.
Well, there's no way
Romero out.
Dogie in this game anyway. He'd be stupid to play him.
I think you've got to play your fullbacks then, don't you?
I think you play one of them.
Gray will come in.
You play Gray, Spence, probably Dancer and Van der Ven as the back 4. Kinski and goal.
Saar will start.
I don't know which one. I don't know who would start as a defensive midfielder, but Saar, Bergval, Johnson, Odebear,
Maybe you go Bentancur.
Richarlison.
Or Tell.
Bentancur
Tell
again?
might play.
But Bentancur
Tell.
had that rest, didn't he? Because he didn't play him having come back from Uruguay.
Because he's
Yeah,
playing
I
back.
know, but then you start him. You started him Villa, Monaco, Thingy, Newcastle.
he
Chelsea,
will play them
and then,
against Chelsea.
in fact, you know what? I could see that. Maybe he wouldn't play in the. Well, he doesn't need to play in the Champions League. He shouldn't need to play both of them. So maybe he will play.
And you're going. What time are you leaving now?
I'm getting the train up. Like
You've got your Sherpa to help you get up those steps into the away end.
I've never been to Newcastle.
I went once and we won when we were at Leeds in the blue kit. Poyet and Anderton.
Yeah. Our away sport is so good, by the way. It's like 5,500 sold out. It's so good, isn't it? How people can be asked to do that?
Oh, you're doing it.
I know, but I'm going because my mate lives in Leeds and I'm staying up at his.
Right. Okay.
And I'm off work.
I'm not going to ask you a prediction for Newcastle because it's a weird game and I don't know what the teams. We really can't
They'll
pick the team.
also rest, I think, because
Yeah,
they've
they've
got
got-
Champions League
they
next
do.
week.
They've not got a
a
massive
Premier League
squad.
game against maybe don't even know
They've
who.
got some good players though, haven't they?
Christopher Hall's getting annoyed with me. Do you want us to just call in the defeat and don't bother travelling? I want us to win every game.
I'm going Christopher
Yeah.
Hall actually. So no.
I think that's a local game for Christopher, actually. I think he's one of our northern-based fans.
I think it's the kind of game where, and I'm going, and I'm desperate to win, but it's if we lost, you'd get over it quite quickly.
Yeah.
And yeah, it
But I
wouldn't
think
be
it's the manner of the performance as well to some degree. If we lose and we just don't turn up and we're awful, then I think that will carry through. If we put in a half decent performance and we lose the game, okay, put it to bed and move on.
Flanners here says, the only time I've been to Newcastle away is when Lennon equalised to make it 1-1. Andy Carroll was out injured that day, and I ended up playing blackjack with him in a casino. I don't know actually whether I was allowed to. Is that allowed? Yeah, they can go and gamble as long as they're not gambling on football.
Yeah, as long as he's not betting on the game.
Yeah. Any Newcastle players you want to be playing blackjack with after the game? Trippier, have a chat about
Tonali?
Spurs. David, please.
Too close.
not particularly. But I reckon Voltemada looks like a bit of a laugh. Don't he? He looks like a bit of a madman.
Someone called him a cross between Berbatov and Crouch.
He's really good from what I've seen.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll play. I think they'll play
Osula.
Osula because they can't. I mean, Visser's out for a while, so I don't think.
Oh, I
they'll
forgot
risk
about
him.
him. Okay, calling it a day. Thank you, gentlemen. David, Jake.
Thank you.
We will be back on Wednesday. If we win, we're calling you.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not working,
Okay.
so.
All right. Gentlemen, we will be back on Wednesday evening, as long as James lets us. And we will see you then. and we'll talk about Chelsea as well. And we'll see you then. And up the Spurs.